Hello everyone, this is the Masked Analyst. Well, as some of you may have seen who subscribe to the Redskull, he has made a video and he is obviously alluding to me in his video on evil, and I'll post a link in the sidebar about that. Now there's one claim that he makes that I want to discuss about this right now. I will at some point in the future have more things to say about the Redskull, but for now we'll just keep it on this one topic. He claims that I released personal information about someone, including their name, address, phone number, information about their medications, that sort of thing. Let me just state right now that I am at somewhat of a disadvantage. I'm going to try and disprove this, but I've got to dance around certain things. I can't give actual specifics without having all 200 some of my around 200 subscribers of mine seeing this information about this person. I don't want to spread it any further, and so I'm going to have to substitute names. I'm not going to give you the name or the alias of this real person because you could use this information to look up her personal information. So I'm going to make up a name. I'm going to call her About Betelgeuse. Okay, so this individual About Betelgeuse is who we're going to be discussing, and Redskull alluded to the fact that I had released her information. Now, there's another alias, and I'm not going to name this alias either, because if I did give you that name, you would be able to look it up, and through this alias you would be able to find out the real life information about Betelgeuse. But we're going to call this alias Shitmaster Jr. And if you knew why, there are reasons why I'm going to call it that, not just because I want to be gross, but there are reasons about that. But Shitmaster Jr. put out a video yesterday in which he claimed that I was behind the release of About Betelgeuse's information. And in that video there was a link in the sidebar to a very obscure website. And if you looked at that website, it did indeed have what appeared to be a report, and the report was signed by the Masked Analyst. In that report there was all sorts of information about this person, about Betelgeuse. Such as name, address, phone number, medical history, all sorts of information that should not have been put out on the net, in my opinion. It's just plain wrong. Well, someone looking at that might, without knowing the history of it, might get the idea that I was behind it if they didn't know too much about me. However, let me give you the history about behind this. About Betelgeuse had pissed off the folks at Encyclopedia Dramatica, and I'm not going to go into the history of this, and she had reason for doing what she was doing, but she ended up pissing them off because she had published information about them, I guess about where they're located, where the servers are located, and she had called for their destruction. So that pissed them off. And so the folks at Encyclopedia Dramatica ended up making and that's encyclopediadramatica.com, ended up making a web page about her, which totally trashed her, and it also included information, this bogus report, which was allegedly signed by me. This was a joke. I guess that their way of having a joke, I guess this was probably an intelligence test more than anything else to see who would actually fall for this sort of thing. Because anyone who knew anything about me would know that I was behind this sort of thing. And it looks like Redskull flunked that test with flying colors. Not only did he flunk that test and fall for it, he fell for it despite the fact that I've told him numerous times in various emails that I wasn't responsible for it. But anyone who knows me would know that I didn't do this. In fact, I have in the past made videos questioning some of the tactics by the folks at the Encyclopedia Dramatica. Now, Some of the things about the Encyclopedia Dramatica are funny. Let me talk a minute about that site. They are a satire website. They're a wiki. Many people contribute to it. Some of their satire can be quite vicious, and some of it can be mean-spirited. I don't particularly like the fact that people are hurt by this, but hey, freedom of speech is freedom of speech. And some of the satire, and I've had a page put up on me, a lot of the information on there, you have to take with a huge grain of salt. But looking at yourself in an Encyclopedia Dramatica webpage is kind of looking at yourself in a circus funhouse mirror. It'll give you a very warped, distorted view of yourself, but there usually is a kernel of truth. Oftentimes a lot more than just a kernel of truth in there. So it's important to try and recognize that kernel of truth when it's there. But not only have I questioned in the past some of their tactics, and I still do question some of their tactics and some of the stuff I like there, I've also defended a friend and a close friend of about Betelgeuses in the past in one of my previous videos. I'm not going to put that one up because you'd probably figure out who about Betelgeuse really is if I were to do that. But her friend was under attack by an enemy who was common to both about Betelgeuse and her friend. So it's kind of confusing because I have to dance around things a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, she and I are about Betelgeuse, and I have left on pretty good terms. She has left YouTube as far as I know. I haven't been in touch with her for a while, but we are on fairly good terms. Now, what has happened is somebody lifted, word for word, they copied the document from Encyclopedia Dramatica to this obscure website. Now, on February 19th, someone by the name of Shitmaster spammed my comment section on my channel with hundreds, I don't know how many hundreds of spams of the same thing over and over again. Now, this name on February 19th is Shitmaster, which should not be confused with Shitmaster Jr., who posted the video yesterday. I believe that they're one and the same. The names are almost identical, and it seems very, very likely that they're one and the same, and that Shitmaster Jr. at the very least had to know about the name of Shitmaster. Well, in any case, this Shitmaster spammed my web page hundreds of times with the same message, and that message was personal information on several different people. It was personal information on about Betelgeuse, as well as name, address, and phone number of Argent 009, and the phone number for the boring dispatcher, Irish 282's name, address, and phone number, and Reneto's phone number, and Brett Keene's address and phone number. I'm assuming that these are the real addresses and phone numbers of these various people. I didn't try and contact them to verify that, but this was all spammed on my channel page hundreds of times on February 19th. Now, I'm a very big believer in freedom of speech, and I'll let almost anything go. And people can post really obnoxious, obscene stuff on my channel, and I'm not going to delete it because once you start censoring people, it's kind of hard to know exactly where to draw the line, and you might censor some legitimate stuff. So my philosophy is to let almost anything go. But this is the one thing that I'm not going to tolerate. I'm not going to tolerate someone posting personal information on my channels, at least not about innocent or relatively innocent people. It would be different. I might consider letting them post it if any of them had been involved in making death threats against another YouTube member. in that case, if someone's making a death threat, as far as I'm concerned, hey, if you're outed, you really shouldn't be hiding behind anonymity and making death threats. But that would be the one exception. I might tolerate that. But none of these people have done that. So I didn't want their information seen. So I hid my channel, and my channel has remained hidden with the exception of about 5 or 10 minutes, which I opened my channel again because I wanted to verify the information that had been on it. But I've hidden my channel because of all the spamming on February 19th. Well, on February 19th, the very same day, I got an email a private message from Redskull saying, I got a PM from someone named the Shitmaster, in which this person is directing me to a link where you are revealing personal info about a user named Betelgeuse. So just about the same time that Shitmaster was spamming my channels, I get an email from the Redskull saying that Shitmaster had also sent him an email about this. We are led to one of two conclusions. Either the two of them are working very closely together, there are two people working very closely together, or Shitmaster is a sock puppet of Redskull's. Now, I've seen Redskull use a number of different sock puppets, and that may be a topic for another video. So it would not be unusual for him to be using a sock puppet here. Okay, let me give you a little bit more background about the Redskull. The Redskull and I have been sharing email and private messages for the past couple months, 3 months or so. And he's upset with me because I will not remove a couple of my old videos about him. I believe they are substantially correct, and so I will not take them down. He's also upset with me because I've told him that I might do another expose on him, and he really does not want that to happen. And so he's been, and I mentioned that this was a low priority for me. I had a whole bunch of other stuff that I wanted to do first, and I might not ever do it, but I said it was a distinct possibility, and he's very upset about that. And in the past couple of days or so, the pace of our private messages has gone way up. He's sent me, I'm guessing, about a dozen or so messages in the past few days. Now, of course, the exchange has gone both ways, but I think he's initiated the contact, and we've been going back and forth. But some of the email, in fact, or the private messages, sounds even a little bit desperate on his part. In fact, in one, let me just read the first paragraph of one. You do realize I contacted the police about insert real name here, also known as Arcane, and with your constantly advocating for him, I could just as easily make a call about you. Perhaps you would like to speak to my local police yourself. I'll be more than happy to give you their number. Now, I'm not going to go into what at this point. I'm not going to go into what all that's about, but maybe in another video. But suffice to say is he threatened to turn me into his local police, which shows a measure of desperation because I've done absolutely nothing wrong, and even if I had, I'm not subject to the Canadian police's influence. I'm not in their jurisdiction, which I let him know in no uncertain terms. So he's getting kind of, I would call a little bit excited or frantic about maybe me releasing a video. Now, while I was exchanging a flurry of emails yesterday or the day before with Redskull, at the same time I was exchanging quite a flurry of emails with someone called the King of the Haters. And King of the Haters was trying to get me to analyze someone called the Psycho Hurricane, the drama tubes. He basically at first sent me an email saying that I was in trouble with him, and then he said he wanted me to call him, and then he ended up saying, please, I would love to see a video of you talking about him. Please make a video discussing him. I told him, no, I'm too busy to deal with him. I wasn't that familiar with him. I had seen a couple of videos, but I really didn't want to analyze him because there were other things that I wanted to talk about. And so he replied by saying, "Oh, come on, we are all waiting your opinion on this guy." So obviously he's desperate. King of the Haters is desperate for me to analyze the Psycho Hurricane. Now, the King of the Haters has been leaving some very nasty comments on my channel page before I made it disappear. He's been playing the typical hater, which is it's okay, I guess. I'm not going to make a big deal about that. But what's interesting is the timing of all this. That he wants me to get involved in another fight, which would obviously take up a lot of my times with someone else, when Redskull is getting kind of frantic that I might be making another video about him. So because of the timing, and again, I don't have proof, but it would not surprise me at all if the King of the Haters was another one of Redskull's many sock puppets. Now, certainly within a day or so of Redskull telling me that he may end up releasing a video doing an expose on me, claiming that I had released personal information about Betelgeuse. We have the Shitmaster Jr. put up a video in which he made that same claim, that I was releasing the personal information. And within hours after Shitmaster Jr. put up his video, the Redskull put up his video alluding to me, and basically he didn't use my name, but he was referring to me as being evil. So the timing of all this happening just within a matter of a few days, it seems very interesting, let's put it that way. So that brings you up to pretty much where we are today. Let me condemn in no uncertain terms the release of about Betelgeuse's personal information. I understand why Encyclopedia Dramatica was pissed at her. I can sympathize with them on that. I think that this went too far. I think this was an overreaction. I know that they're still pissed at her. But this is something that I would never do. The only reason I would even consider releasing personal information is if someone had made a death threat to somebody else on the internet, or threatened to rape them. Then I would say, hey, yeah, that it might be fair game to release that person's information. No one should be able to make death threats or threats of rape behind a mask of anonymity. And as you can probably guess, I value anonymity, and I believe everyone should have the right for anonymity. But under those circumstances, I think you waive your right to be anonymous. But I condemn this release of her personal information. I'm not responsible for it. And at some point of my own choosing, at a time of my own choosing, I will be providing you more information about the Redskull. It should be quite entertaining. This has been the Masked Analyst, under an N.